Hello from the ferry dock, or at least I think what the ferry dock is. I'm a coffee drop. So I'm here for the ferry. I've not got any notice that it's not going. No one else is here, including the crew for this boat, which I'm assuming is the ferry, which makes me a little nervous because it's very small. But yeah, online it says everywhere, like, be there 30 minutes early. You may not be able to board if you're not there 30 minutes early. So I was here technically 28 minutes early and literally nobody else is here. It is now almost 8:10 and the boat's supposed to leave at 8:30. So I see some people in the, like, starting to trickle down to where I'm waiting. So I'm hoping that they're also in line for this boat and, like, we just are running on Irish time. So fingers crossed that this just, I missed a memo somewhere. Or that I didn't miss a memo. Yeah. It's actually a slightly larger boat, but not much. So I just rode the very tiny little bus up to the far end of the island. It's like 5 miles away from where the ferry went off. And it's like a bird reserve, you can see down there. I don't care that much about birds, but I wanted to see the whole of the island. I figured this would be a good way, like, get a bus out and then walk back, and I can kind of take my time. Oh, it's cold out here. Yeah, so that's the plan. And that is the sea fog that hasn't burned off yet, and then that's where it has. So I decided, I looked inside just to say, hey, maybe I'll go down and see the birds, whatever. 5 pounds, I don't really want to see birds. I can see them just fine over here. They do have puffins apparently, which would be kind of cool, but you can't get very close to them, so it's basically like puffins from binocular. And they don't care that much. Also, it's cold here. So I think I'm gonna start walking back, which is really what I wanted to do in the first place. I want to kind of walk the whole island as much as I can. So yeah, that's gonna be the plan. I'm gonna go walk out, walk back down the other way, and then this island kind of looks like an L, like that. So I'm like here, and then the harbor's like right there. So my plan is to walk to the edge of the thumb and then back again, which should be about 8 miles total. It's about 5 from here to the harbor, and then it's about, wait, no, it should be about 11. And then it's about 3, I think, from there to the end of the thumb. So that's the plan for today. We'll see how far I make it. I have until 4, and it's only like probably about 9:15, 9:30. So yeah, that's plenty of time, I think. More birds. These might actually be the puffins. I can't tell. Too far away, but yeah. Hi, birdies. Super pretty here. Freezing. I kind of wish I brought another layer or something. But alas. Apparently, like, all different types of birds nest on those stacks over there. And definitely what I saw were not the puffins. But puffins are kind of like in the grass areas at the bottom, but that's cool. So there's this little walk that you can do around this guy. It avoids this road, so I think I'm going to do that. And then you have to take the road back at some point. But yeah, so I'm going to do this little blue loop, and then it links back up to the road, and I think I'll probably just walk along that afterwards. the mainland coast that I was walking yesterday. You can see right there. I think that's Valentine. There's some sort of machinery ruins down there. I wonder what that's from. So that's the southern tip of the island jutting out there. And that's the mainland coast. So you can see it's actually quite close. And then over there, you can't see it right now because of the cloud and rain and fog, but that's the harbor where Ballycastle is, or Ballycastle. I say it different. This little college is just apparently the most haunted building on the island. No real reason given in that little plaque that I just read. It certainly has some lovely views. So, I thought this island would be pretty flat. Don't know why I thought that. It's not. But I didn't bring my poles because I thought it would be pretty flat. I have regrets. I have many regrets about that. Oh, this is what the road looks like on the entire island. It's like the size of a car. And a bus drives on it, so, you know, that's fun. That bird is just chilling, staring at me. See how long it takes for it to move. Well, that was creepy. No fear. No fear of humans. Just looked at me. Okay. Can I see that land over there? I think that might be Scotland. I think it's only supposed to be like 11 miles away or something. And then that's Northern Ireland, the coast. As the bus was taking us up to the bird sanctuary, the driver played this like audio around like some of the history of Rathlin Island. And apparently it's always been kind of this go-between between Scotland and Northern Ireland. It's so much so that they even developed their own little dialect here that was a mixture of Scots Gaelic and Irish, which was kind of cool. Yeah, so I think this vibe that I've been getting around this area of like it kind of being Irish, but it kind of being Scottish, but it kind of maybe having a blend of like England in it somewhere, and it makes sense. It's like that's what this place is, so that's kind of cool. So I've passed that bus now a couple of times, and every time he comes up from the ferry port, like when my ferry came in, there was maybe, I don't know, 8 of us who wanted to go. And he was like, okay, I guess it's worth it, because the bus only runs if enough people want to go, because then it's like worth it for him. And every time since then, the bigger ferries have come in, his bus has been loaded, and it's probably like a 20 passenger bus. So, and he charges $5 one way for adults and $3 for kids. Like, this dude, I mean, depending on how much he's spending on, you know, maintenance of his bus, gas, things like that, but just like the raw cash coming in, he's making hundreds and hundreds of pounds a day when he's this busy to do this. Like, I love that for him. Like, if you're living on this island, tourists are gonna come invade every day. Like, yeah, make money off of them. So I just walked by the primary school that they have here, but there's no secondary school that I've seen. So I'm guessing that kids go to primary school here, and then when they get to secondary school, which is I think around 11 here, then I'm guessing they have to go to the mainland to go to school. So I wonder if it's like a day thing and they just commute, or if it's like a 5-day boarding and then they come home on the weekends, or if it's just complete boarding, because I would guess in like, you know, spring and fall, it's probably pretty easy to do a commute if there's a school in like Ballycastle, for example. But in the winter, like the boats are pretty like weather dependent, and I could see it being pretty easy to get stuck on one side or the other. or not be able to get to one side or the other. So be kind of tricky, I guess, to have that be dependent. I bet it's some sort of boarding. That's my guess. But I always wonder about these things. So get the church I've passed in a very short amount of space. I wonder if one's like Catholic and one's Protestant, but this one wins on view. The other one was up by the school. Well, I just popped into the little shop here, which is very little, and got a Coke. I'm gonna have my peanut butter jelly chips and enjoy this little harbor view before I try to go head out to the southern point. I don't know what kind of bird this is. It's not any kind of seagull I've ever seen before, but there's a ton of birds. It's doing that thing that the seagulls do, where it kind of like makes noise at you from a distance while you're eating, and then like hovers in the air around you, and then goes and finds another place to kind of like stand and make noise at you. Then it thinks that's getting my sandwich, and it's not. Go away. I hate birds. These things are everywhere over here at these outdoor gyms. I kind of love it. When I was in the shop getting my soda, there was something that the person working there was saying that made me wonder how often the locals actually leave the island. She was saying like she's so excited for her trip to the mainland because she's been saving for it and she's going to get her brows done and she's going to go out into a restaurant and all these different things and go shopping. Like I don't know if it was just because she's kind of gonna, you know, live it up or whatever, but it seemed like an occasion. So that makes me think maybe they don't leave the island that much. I don't know. Kind of wonder. Maybe I'll find a way to have a conversation with somebody. Probably not because it's me. But if it comes up naturally, definitely gonna ask. There's the big ferry coming in. That's the car ferry. It's a little slower than the one I took. I only took the one I took because of the timing. They have slightly different schedules, but apparently you can bring a car here, and that's what that big bit in the front of it is. It's a car ramp, but like there's very specific like requirements. I think you have to be here for at least a week and like show why. I don't know. There's lots of different things, but like I know it's not easy and it's not inexpensive, but it's possible. Some writer's chair dedication. Not quite sure why it's here. The background view could be better. They're clearly building something. I wonder what it is because it's kind of like it requires this big crane and the whole looks like maybe houses. I don't know. I'm gonna go check out that gift shop if it's open and pop into the tourism center here. Visitor center has this whole like display of the history here. There's a bunch of artifacts. There's kid activities. It's actually really cool where I was this morning. That's the west lighthouse. That's where the visitor center is, and then all of those little rocks and stuff where the birds are. They call it the upside down lighthouse because the light is at the bottom instead of the top because it's already on a giant cliff. So they're setting up lots of new like holiday lets. I'm guessing people want to stay overnight here. This is a glamping setup. I think it's like 75 pounds a night for one of those things. And they are meant for 2 people, but you can sleep more. And that's the old hostel, that blue building over there. I was gonna stay there for a night, but they shut the hostel down over COVID and the couple running it decided to retire. That would be a cool spot, though I'm sure in the winter it's not very water sound. This is the kelp house. I was reading at the visitor center that they used to harvest kelp here, so you know, like seaweed, for a brief period of time to make to sell and make, and the people who would buy it would make iodine and soda from it. Odd. So the wind in this clip is real bad. So essentially what I'm saying is I keep running into these like young people. I'm guessing maybe late teens, very, very early 20s, if that old. And they have all this camping stuff and they're like super weighed down, largely because they were trying to pack it onto their bikes. And it looks like they're going somewhere. And at this point, I haven't seen any sort of campsite, but it seems like they might be camping. They're definitely British, I think English specifically. So I wonder if they're sort of like over here for some sort of elaborate trip or research or something, but who knows? So one thing I learned in the visitor center is those two churches I found are actually, one's a Catholic church, one's a Protestant church. And apparently there's not been any conflict around it. They even share one cemetery, which is really cool, especially here in what is technically Northern Ireland. Feels a little bit like it was not exactly as much of a terrible time, the Troubles. I mean, that probably still was, but it just seems like it had a different impact here than, say, in the bigger cities like Belfast or Derry. We've got all kinds of sheepies here. Here's Scotland. So if I followed all trails, that's where I'd go, and I'd kind of do a loop. Like up this way. But since time is of the essence, and that looks very ferny, we're gonna go ahead and just stay on the paved road. The loch is clearly a destination in and of itself. It is pretty beautiful. But anything that accumulates foam like that always freaks me out, I'm not gonna lie. This feels like they used to be houses, but now they're part of the animal pens. So much more open on this side of the island. There's Northern Ireland, or the coast of it. I think that might be Tor Head, the steep cliffs there. Not sure, but somebody told me that I should go hike up there, but it's really just a road walk to get up there. Like, you can drive up there, which obviously I can't because I don't have a car. So, I don't know. That's a maybe for tomorrow. Might go to the tourism office and see what they have to say. So the part of the island I was on this morning with the birds, that reminded me of Cape Clear Island, like off the south, like off of Cork in the Republic. And this part of the island kind of reminds me of a little bit of Tory Island, which is off the coast of Donegal, which would make sense because that's the northernmost island off of the Republic. This is the northernmost island off of Northern Ireland, and they're kind of similar distances from their coasts. But yeah, it's interesting that the two different like legs of the island have such different vibes and like landscapes. There we go. We have Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Rathlin all in one shot. But these are some more of those kelp houses. There's a lighthouse out there. A guy walking past definitely thought I was taking a picture of him when I was like doing a selfie. He was like giving it a thumbs up. That's hilarious. Anyway, this is super pretty. I'm glad I came out here. If I was staying here overnight, I definitely would probably try to come out here when there's like at the very, like towards the morning or towards the evening when there's fewer people. It was nice being out by the bird sanctuary when it was just like the 8 to 10 people who are on the bus and on the ferry with me, and it'd be nice not to have all of those people in my photos. So okay, quick little jaunt to the lighthouse, then we have to hit the trail back to town. It's funny, I thought, okay, I'll come over on the 8:30 bus ferry, which means I get here at like 9, and I'll go back on the 4 o'clock one. Plenty of time, maybe too much time if it pours. But I kind of wish I'd gotten one of the later ferries. I think there's one at 5 and one at 6 too, but you can't like change because they already have people booked and stuff. So, oh well, make do. Now this stuff right here almost reminds me of Scotland, which fair because Scotland. But yeah, this island is super diverse actually, which I wasn't quite expecting, but kind of love it. So what I learned at the visitor center is that in the winter, like waves crash all over this area and into the lighthouse. It's the lowest lighthouse on the island. The one I was at earlier today is the highest, and then the other one's kind of in between. But obviously, the weather is not like that today. You can see, so I was kind of on that point over there earlier today. Now I'm over here. Clear to the other side of the island. I walked. You can see all the little tide pools that are made during rough weather and high tides and things like that. Super pretty. So all of a sudden the water, as you go past these rocks, goes from what's clearly seawater, kind of see it collecting grossness, to what I think is the bog water. It's this color, it's a different color, and this one has life in it. Look, there's little fish, I think. That's kind of cool. Well, the timing on that was kind of perfect. I walked out there, nobody was there. I took my pictures, I looked around, and then I was ready to leave, and that's when 3 people strolled up. So, love that. It's also only 2:05, so I'm right on time. So it took me a little under an hour to walk out here. And I was, you know, stopping and taking some pictures and stuff like that. It wasn't just walking at a clip. And so I'll kind of head back, maybe do the same thing if I see anything different from this angle. And pop into the shop. I want to get a magnet from my mom. Mom, if you're watching this, know that I made a special trip for this magnet of yours. So you better find a space on your refrigerator for it. And then I think I should be just in time to catch the ferry. So, yeah. Okay, this is interfering with my timeline a little bit. I don't care. These are seals. They're all just like chilling in the sun, warming themselves. I heard them before I saw them. So cool. Hi, seals. Okay, that was cool. I'd heard that there were seals here, but I didn't really give it much thought. To kind of hear them reminds me of the Scuttle song in The Little Mermaid, right before the Kiss the Girl song, where he's like, I'm going to set the mood. That's what it sounds like. Is those guys singing, or whatever noises they're making. Yeah, that was super cool. Okay, I've pushed my time. It's 2:16. I still have plenty of time. My ferry's not till 4, but definitely worth it. More sheepies. Now this place would have a good view, although it looks really overgrown, so my guess is it's only used in the winter or it's not used at all anymore. I could see it maybe being like a lightkeeper's house because that thing didn't look big enough to actually like house someone. I just passed this couple that I'd passed earlier when I was coming back from the workplace, and we'd said hi earlier. I just kept walking, but as they were coming this way, we said hi again, and I said I told them about the seals because honestly, if they weren't being that loud and I wasn't paying attention, I would have missed them. So I told them, like, go check them out. They were very excited to go see the sails. And then one of them was like, oh, have you seen Scotland? I was like, yes, I've seen Scotland. But they were clearly Scottish, like you could hear it in their accents. And he was so excited that you could see, I think it was, what do you call it? Bay of Mull or something? I don't remember. But I was like, yeah, I know, if you go down there, you can see them both at the same time. It's really cool. But he was thrilled. They both were. So, and then right after that, this seemingly local van drove by with a little kid in it. He was just like waving and waving and waving. And what is it about like little kids in cars when they see people walking? They wave, and all they want in the whole world is for you to wave back. So I always wave back, and he was like so excited about it. Hilarious. But it's turned into a beautiful day. I'm enjoying this lovely walk. So I'm gonna put the camera down for a bit and just walk back into town. Enjoy the sun. Well, I might not have made it all the way out there, but that's the third lighthouse that is like the shortest distance from the ferry terminal. You can see just over there is where the ferry is. So if I were here longer, I would have gone to that one too, but only can do what you can do. So I saw these cows before, and I feel like that cow's pregnant. Like, she looks so wide in like a weirdly like uneven way. And all the other cows in the pen seem to have babies, so I don't know. I know nothing about cow biology, but this is my thought. I think the ideal Rathlin visit, assuming you get good weather, is come over on the first ferry, drop your stuff at wherever you're staying, assuming you can do that, spend the day exploring the island, stay the night, then leave your stuff wherever you're staying, assuming you can do that, spend the day exploring the island, and leave on like the last ferry, and then on either end stay in Valley Castle. That would be my hot take. And if you have trouble with like checking in and checking out and leaving your stuff there, you could do 2 nights here, but like come afternoon ferry, spend the night, have the whole day, spend the night, and then leave in like a late morning, noonish ferry. Would be perfect. Just enough time to see everything, not enough time to really get bored. Obviously, you'd have to have good weather and you'd have to like walking, but that's my theory. The farmer and sheepdog on the quad thing is like, I've seen that so many times while I've been traveling, in the places that I've been, both in Ireland actually and up here in Northern Ireland. But it never fails to crack me up because they've trained that dog to, 1, not be afraid of the loud noise of the quad, and 2, to just stay on it, like wherever they've put it on the quad. And quads are not made for dogs, in case you were wondering. So it's always kind of miraculous to see it and be like, oh, that's just normal for that dog. Cool. I have made it, well, nearly, but you know, I can see it. This counts. I keep seeing these grit salt containers at the tops of hills, and I think it's pretty obvious that it has to get like icy here in the winters, but I wonder if it actually snows or not. Talk about how the light changed, what this place looks like. It's kind of amazing. There's more seals, just chilling. Way fewer. You can see a couple that are in the water, and then there's that one over there sunning itself. There's another over there sunning itself. Seals must love this place. Oh, there's a little head popping out of the water. So I just found some campers. I don't know if that land belongs to anybody or you can just wild camp here. Who knows? But they've set themselves up in a very breezy area. They're very fancy tents. So Godspeed to them. This is like a big talking point here. That sand looks like powder. This is the only sand beach on the island that I've seen. It's clearly ground down of those white rocks. There's 2 types of rocks here, I think. There's those white ones, which seem to be a little softer, and then the black ones, which are probably the harder ones, but yeah, it makes sense that this would be so white. So cold. So cold. But after walking 11 miles, my feet need it. This cloud just rolled out of nowhere, which is kind of a bummer, but oh well. I'm just gonna hang out on this beach, I think, for the next 20 minutes or so before I go get in line for the ferry. Actually, I take it back. This water isn't that cold. Like, I don't know that I'd want to go swimming in it, but if it was warm out, I definitely could swim in it. And it wouldn't be that bad. And the sand is like so soft, it's hilarious. Not hilarious, it's like almost clay feeling, but it doesn't like powder up like clay. It's weird. Hard to explain. Not big, but it's definitely a bigger village in this area. Love that. Well, back in Valley Castle, that ferry ride was really not bad. I'm glad I did the fast one because it's a catamaran, and the other one is like this deep, like, yeah. So riding always there, but I think I saw a puffin when it was flying. Like it looks like a little torpedo. Not sure because it went bloop, but I thought I saw one. That's cool. Okay, I have to go figure out what I'm gonna do next. I got ice cream from this place in town called Mott's. 2 flavors because they had so many flavors to choose from, and some were kind of interesting. So the one on the bottom is Irish sea salt caramel, which I've had a sea salt ice cream before down in the Republic, and it's good if you mix it with certain things. Like it's too salty for me if it's just plain. So I got a chocolate fudge on top. Excellent, excellent. I think the chocolate's a little artificial tasting, so on its own I'd probably give it a 7.5. The sea salt mixed with the right chocolate would be like a 9 out of 10. On its own, I'd still give it like an 8. It's really good. And that's your ice cream review for the day. Not west facing enough to see the actual sunset, but the sky is quite pretty tonight.